Today, we're going to take some craft fur, pair of work gloves, and some PVC pipe and make these Werewolf gloves for around $10 in supplies. Interested? Here we go. Making werewolf or creature nails has been a bit of a journey. This is the final product, and it all starts with this, a 1/2-inch piece of PVC. Now, if you have something like this on there, all you do is just take a sanding sponge and make short order of this. Believe it or not, all these different looking nails were based on the same pattern. And I believe it was this nail. That's patient number 0. Took this nail and I tried different things. I had it marked up on a marker, but let's just go with a pencil, and I'll tell you why. Because eventually you're going to sand this down anyway. So there, you can get the general outline of the nail. And you can get about 3 across, is what I found. So if you're going to make 20 nails, one for each of your toes and your fingers, you'll probably need about 12 inches of PVC pipe. Now, I did a lot of research online, in books, and watched movies to try to get the perfect nails. Costumes, they have a tendency to have these really thin, curved nails. But I'm thinking, okay, this is coming out of a human being, so it's probably going to stretch anyway. And I guess I could curve it, but I just like this arc here. Another thing I want to show you is the color. Originally I started with a nail color like that, and I did a survey, and I said, which nail do you like better? This nail or this color nail? And 5 out of 5 votes said this nail. So that's what I went with. So you could probably use a hacksaw to cut these out with, but what I ended up doing is just using a Dremel tool with a rotary blade. And this one I got at Harbor Freight. I think somewhere between $5 and $10, depending on if it's on sale and whether you use a 20% off coupon. And that's kind of what it looks like. I use this a lot for a whole bunch of different builds. You don't want to carve inside unless you're in a heavily ventilated area, because this will throw up a lot of dust. I like having a handle when I'm working on this project. So the first thing I'm going to do is just groove it up. Then you're going to here, sand and polish those up. Then you go to here. Color it in with the black marker, and this is just a furniture marker, and then I spray it all with Krylon Color Master Clear. You could use a matte finish if you wanted, but I kind of like the polished look of a werewolf who's seen combat and polished up those nails. I prefer to do this all outside, but unfortunately it's raining like a son of a gun, so we're gonna have to do this in the garage. A couple key safety items, some sort of gloves. It's easier to cut gloves than your fingers, some safety glasses, and some sort of filtering mask. This does a pretty good job at keeping everything out from PVC. So here we go. I'm gonna safety up and start carving away. I'm using a relatively low setting, around 1000. And just go in and just arbitrarily hit some grooves. It doesn't take much at all. And then once I'm happy with that, I just start carving out the nail itself, using the line as a guide. be able to pull that off. Push it up a little bit. The first one's always the hardest, and there you go. And then do that 20 times. Now using a sanding sponge, this is kind of a medium grade to rough grit. In a file, we're just going to kind of smooth these out and get them all kind of looking like nails. Take this and just kind of run it on there on the side. Take all the grooves out. Every one of them is going to be different, even though you use the same pattern, or at least that's my experience. And that's fine. Take some of the rough edges off of the nail top. Kind of get it to where you want it to be. More of a curve there. You could use a belt sander or any kind of sander to do the same thing, but it shapes pretty quickly. Maybe a little thinner profile at the top than the bottom. Oh. Then do that 20 times. It really doesn't take that long at all, maybe 30 seconds, no more than a minute per nail. Back from filing and sanding, I've decided to bevel all of the nails, especially for the fingers. I kind of did it here without sanding them down or filing them down. And that's okay for the feet. But the hands are going to be more visible. Here's the marker, and I'm going to use a needle nose pliers to hold it. So I'm just going to start filling that in. You'll notice it's a slightly different color than this, so I'm going to have to do a couple coats of it, putting the clear coat on. You can probably see here, here's a good example. It kind of bleeds the marker. If you were painting, you probably wouldn't get that impression, but you can see where it kind of discolors a little bit or shows back through the white again. And I like that. Kind of gives the nail a little more depth. So we're going to do this to all the nails, both the front and the back, particularly for the fingernails because they're more visible. So you go and do this 10 times. You can kind of see that I've tried to organize the nails kind of in a finger pattern. So just keep going through and doing this. I'll catch up with you when I have these all done. So the next step after you get all this in, and I've done both sides, is you take a mechanical pencil, something with a very thin lead, and you fill in these grooves. And these don't look gray, they look black. And that part of that is the bleeding process once you get this thing wet with the clear coat. So I'm just going around and filling in every groove with lead from the mechanical pencil. And because the scars were done randomly, every nail will look different. And these are the details that kind of set your build apart from something you can buy. You make the difference. You make the details. You decide. Do that 10 more times. Or 20 if you haven't done the toenails yet. And just to be clear, it's not that I fear getting marker on my hand. In fact, you can kind of see it here. But I really feel if you use the needle nose pliers, you can really get a good grip on that nail and apply the force you need to either get the marker in there or get this mechanical pencil. So here's the difference between the lead in the grooves and no lead in the grooves yet. It's subtle, but it starts popping after you spray it. Now that the lead pencils have gone and done their piece, I'm going to do this black detail. I don't care about this because that's the part I'm going to glue on. And you just want to come in here like this and just touch it off right where that bevel is that you've made. Completed the black cuticles, or whatever you want to call them. Pretty happy with this. There's a couple spots I think I need to touch up with the marker. So I'll do that now before I take them out and spray paint them. here's the beginning of the glove. This is these work gloves. They're black on black. Wells Lamont. I got them at Costco. These are worn, which is good because it gives the weathering effect. And all I did is I just took the nails and glued them on with some Rapid Fuse. And they are great. Now I'm going to take some faux fur and add this in next. I've looked online, looked at a lot of things, so I'm probably just going to add the fur in right here. The patch right there. So we'll see how that does. And then I'm trying to figure out how to do the feet. You can get this craft fur at Michael's. Originally it was $2.99. I got it for about $1.50 plus tax with a 50% off coupon. Here's a strip of it instead of a big 9-inch by 12-inch piece. I've cut a strip, just kind of checking it out. I think I'm going to go in here and just do all these little pieces here and then figure out how I'm going to do the bigger piece around here and then just maybe wrap a length around the edge here. Somehow bind them all together. I'm going to try using the glue gun for this initial look. So I kind of want it right about there, overlapping the nail just a tad with the fur. We'll see how that looks. It does go a little bit through the glove, so be careful. But I like the look. It's kind of crazy. And it really does stick on there. The concern would be if you didn't put your hand in there somehow, or a wooden dowel or something, that it may stick to the other side. But I'm liking how that's turning out. Finish the rest of the digits here. So there's 3 digits. I'm going to use a 3/4 inch dowel because that's safer. It also gives me a good match for how far to come down. Trim off this little excess here. Hit it with glue. And that allows you to get a real good press down. Rough up the fur a little bit. You can obviously dirty this up if you wanted. Okay, for the thumb it takes a little more. You come in at an angle like this. The glue comes off the rubbery piece pretty good in there. See, the dowel out, and you keep yourself from getting burned. Place it in the location. Maybe just run a couple strips there and there. For that one, I'm probably not going to be able to use a 3/4 inch dowel. I'll probably have to use a piece of wood. So I got a 2x3 in here, and I'm just putting it in place. I think I'm going to run them all the way down. Measure twice, cut once. A little bit of an overlap, that's fine. And now I'm going to shift this and do this piece here. I guess you could use this for a gorilla costume. Liking it. Glue's still a little warm. Now I just need to come around here with a little bit more fur and maybe up in here. Laying down this one final piece and then this hand is done. Glove, hand, paw. Now just make another one for the other hand. During your construction phase, don't be surprised if this faux hair and glue gets everywhere, because it will. Here's an important tip. I just cut a piece here lengthwise. You can kind of see the lines and how they're running. And this thing really shed a lot. So I think if you're going to cut it, it's better to cut it this way, parallel to the lines, as opposed to perpendicular. Perpendicular, you'll just lose a lot of the hair. I'm really happy how these turned out. A couple variations. You could do different color gloves. You could do different color fur. You could leave this bare and just have something like this on the other side. I just wanted to do it this way. The rougher and older the gloves, the better. Thumbs up and comments, always appreciated. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for this build where I make werewolf shoes. I'll post the video below, or here, somewhere on the out screen. Thanks for watching.